Good morning. Today on Spotlight, inside Detroit's multi-million-dollar Hudson-Webber Foundation. The organization recently issued its first ever 6-year impact report. What did it find, and how have the results affected the quality of life in Michigan's largest municipal area? We'll ask outgoing President and CEO Melanca Clark. It's Sunday, September the 17th. I'm Chuck Stokes, and this is Spotlight. Melanca Clark, welcome to Spotlight. I've interviewed you before, but it was during the pandemic, so everything was virtual. So first time actually meeting you in person and having you here in studio, and glad we got you here before you made your exit.
Thank
You're doing well?
Thanks for having me. Yes, doing great.
Very good. You are the outgoing president and CEO of the Hudson-Webber Foundation. Of course, that foundation is known across the country, but particularly in our hometown here. First of all, when's the exit date? Do you know yet?
My transition is timed around the announcement of the new president, which will be
So you're helping with the
fall.
transition and getting a new person on board.
Exactly.
All right, you came on board in 2016.
That's right.
You've released a 6-year impact report. I assume just saying, this is what happened during my term. Talk a little bit about why you chose, first of all, to come here, because you're not from Detroit.
Yeah.
Spent a lot of time on the East Coast.
That's right.
Trained at Brown University and the Harvard Law School. But they convinced you to come here. Has it been a good fit for you?
Oh, it's been a wonderful fit. Detroit is a special place, and just for context, I came here, in fact, because my husband, Madi Toure, had a position that brought him to the city, and I was sort of was coming out of the Obama.
What did he do?
He started at the Detroit Economic Growth Corporation,
Okay.
heading up their real estate practice.
Okay.
But
we'll let him come in and sing his own tune at some point.
Right.
This is
That's
your
another
day.
interview.
All right.
But for me, I was a political appointee with the Obama administration, and the administration, it was 2016, obviously, the end of that administration. And I just can't tell you what a wonderful, I was just so fortunate in that the position was open as I was coming into Detroit. And just, you know, as I was considering moving our whole family and getting to know the city, it's just terrific. And I can't think of a better way to come into a city than to lead a foundation, I will say that. Make lots of friends.
Make lots of friends. That's right. Everybody wants to talk to the people with the money. Let's talk about this impact study. If I said, what were the highlights?
Sure.
What would you say?
I
know you have
many.
4 big prongs that you focused in
Yes, that's true. And just for context, we endeavored on a new strategy in 2017. And so really this report is a look back at the fruits of that strategy shift that we made at that time. And I'd say just to orient around our different mission areas, arts and culture, built environment, community and economic development, and what we call our safe and just community portfolio. We really had overriding objectives for the work that we were doing. Of course, investing in people and place, but also really digging into innovative approaches that lead to shared prosperity in our city. And then the final and critical imperative was to really be thoughtful and intentional about addressing racial inequity and structural barriers to opportunity.
You gave out something like 241 grants. And $36.5 million over that period of time.
Yes.
Which is a boatload of money. Lessons learned?
I think, you know, some of the work that I'm most proud of is really the work that we did in collaboration with others. And so, and I think if you talk about lessons learned, one of those lessons is none of this work, none of the core objectives for each of our mission areas and overarching, which is to improve the quality of life in Detroit. No one, no matter how much money you have, can be working in a silo and singularly. One of the things I'm most proud of is the work that the foundation did to spearhead something called the Michigan Justice Fund, which is itself a funders collaborative that advances equitable justice reform, not just in Detroit, but actually throughout the state. And I should say part of this report is affirmatively talking about the initiatives and projects that we supported. The second part of the report reflects some work that was done by third-party evaluators that talked to our grantees and partner stakeholders to get their thoughts about our impact. And through that work, we understood that it was incredible and positive feedback, but also underscored the idea that for us, we're used to sort of working with humility and not bragging certainly about our investments, and it's the work of our partners. But at the same time, there's a place, I think, for us to be very transparent about what we've been doing. And I think that was lifted up in the evaluation that we had, that we make more public and transparent just the many initiatives and
so people wouldn't say, well, what do they do?
Yeah.
It almost becomes a household footnote and item in knowledge that people have.
And to really celebrate our partners. That's another piece of this report.
Sure.
It's a great part of it.
Okay, we're going to take a little quick pause for the cause. When we come back, I want to go back a little bit in the history of the foundation.
Yeah.
And so that people fully understand and how that may relate to today.
Sure.
We'll be right back with Melanca Clark right after this. Let's go back in history a little bit. This foundation was set up off of the empire that J.L. Hudson, longtime Detroiters remember the Hudson building. I didn't remember it as much. By the time I got here, it wasn't quite what it was, but my wife certainly does, and others who were born and raised in this town. Tell us a little bit about the foundation, why it was set up, and where it is now compared to the early days.
Sure. So the origin story of the foundation is really several foundations coming together. One was the company foundation that was set up during the time of the J.L. Hudson department store. And then family members, the Webber family primarily, which was, and I won't go into the complicated family tree, but the nephews of J.L. Hudson that really took over the destiny of the
Right, because he was never married, but he had these nephews, and the four nephews he worked with very closely and brought them into the company. And
That's right. And so those family members had their individual foundations, and they merged together in the 80s, really, which is when the foundation, as we sort of understand and know it, it's a full-time staffed foundation, began. So it's been, for me, and I'm not a Detroiter, but one of the sweet and special things that I just realized coming into this role is just as you said, the special connection that Detroiters have with this, with the department store, with the leadership of the family members, their civic leadership. I was really fortunate. We have several family members on the board, but Joe Hudson.
Has that been good or bad?
It's been great.
Okay, that's the diplomatic political answer. Has it been really good or bad?
It's not diplomatic or political.
Okay.
It's a really lovely family.
Because they understand the history and the goals,
exactly.
And it gives you some form of continuity.
Absolutely. And as I said, I had the privilege of working with Joe Hudson, who was the former chair of the foundation, and Gil Hudson, who actually ran the foundation for quite a long time. They were brothers, and really, for me, having the opportunity to work with them and learn from them was really one of the highlights of being at the foundation.
Yeah, and I say that kiddingly, that last question, sort of kiddingly, but it's also, you've also got an interesting board, I think about 14 people.
That's right.
It's diverse, it's not just family members.
It's not
You've
just
got people like Attorney Reggie Turner, who's so well known in this area, so committed to Detroit. You've got Stephen Henderson, so you've got journalists on there. So you've got people who know and understand Detroit and Detroiters and grassroots Detroit. And I think probably having that mix, or I'll ask you, having that mix of talent on your board helped in terms of the overall goals and objectives that you outlined in segment one?
It's been incredible. And I think, you know, the the sort of magic of that board is each of them, as you said, are so deeply involved in sort of, moving Detroit forward, both obviously through the support of the foundation, but most folks are doing many other things that are related and connected to the future of this city. And so that has been extraordinary. There have been particular initiatives that we've advanced where we've actually enlisted the leadership of our foundation trustees. Barb McQuaid is an example of that.
Sure.
We started an initiative called the Community Policing Innovation Initiative in the wake of the George Floyd murders. She's the chair of the advisory committee for that effort that lives at the Community Foundation for Southeast Michigan.
Sure.
So that was just a wonderful example of just the leadership and the capacity that we have on our board.
Right, and we should say people should know her by now. She's on CNN every other day. She teaches at the University of Michigan Law School, and of course used to be the
former U.S. attorney.
Former U.S. attorney for the Eastern District of Michigan. Certainly has a wealth of knowledge in the legal circles as well. Right. Are we asking, and this is a little more philosophical, are we asking too much of our foundations these days?
Well, I think if we are thinking about sort of the charitable aspect of helping, for example, to secure a safety net for those of our citizens, and Detroit obviously has very high poverty rates, for that to rest, as you said, on our nonprofit service providers, and then in turn to look to the private sector to support all of that, yes, that cannot be a long-term solution for some of the endemic social issues that we're facing in the city. But I'd say that most foundations here in Detroit are, of course, supporting some of that work. But for us at Hudson-Webber, we took really seriously the idea that for our dollars to have the most impact, we have to really be looking at systemic reform, and that our dollars can support advocates or partnerships with government, but sort of things that get the flywheel going so that the public sector does come in to support if it's an issue of just support and money. Some of it is exposing and addressing injustices. I talked about the Community Policing Initiative, which is really about supporting law enforcement agencies in Southeast Michigan coming together with community partners to work on issues like use of force, racial disparities in law enforcement practices, reimagining public safety, and other areas like that where it really does make sense for innovation, experimentation to be supported by the private sector.
Very good. All right, we're going to take another little quick pause, and we'll come right back with more questions to Melanca Clark. The 6-year impact report, if people want to go and really drill down on it, because it's hard for you to summarize everything in this short interview,
Yep.
They can do so?
They can.
How do
they should visit the Hudson-Webber website, which is hudson-webber.org, and hopefully your producers might put the link up for folks to see, and that's where they'll find it, along with other information about our foundation, our history, and our current grants, which we always have up on our website.
And because foundations always are in a position to make friends because people want money. If there are people out there watching this and they want to know, are you still making grants after this impact study?
Yes, we are.
The answer is yes.
Yes, the answer is absolutely yes. And we also on the website have a letter of inquiry form that folks can fill out. Sure.
You're on some other boards. Let's talk a little bit about this and how serving on these boards may have helped with your overall mission that they're paying you for. Sure. Okay. You mentioned the Michigan Justice Fund. You're also on the Center for Employment Opportunities, the Council of Michigan Foundations, the Michigan Center for Youth Justice, and LIST.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about those and
sure.
How they've tied together and how they've helped you here in Detroit.
Yeah, so I'd say of the ones that you mentioned, and there are a few more that I sit on as well.
Mm-hmm. When do you
or
sleep?
Have sat on, I should say. But they, you know, it's such a, for me, and my background is in, you know, I was a lawyer in training and work specifically on criminal justice policy. So many of the boards that I sit on, like the Michigan Center for Youth Justice and the Center for Employment Opportunities, which is actually a national organization and board that I sit on, I am sort of bringing that experience and expertise, which obviously I bring to the foundation as well. For boards that are local here to Detroit, what a wonderful opportunity, many of which are partners at the foundation where we invest and provide support for those organizations. So it's really, I would say, mutually beneficial from that perspective for those organizations to have a foundation presence in their board, to help advise them on fundraising efforts, of course, with other foundations when that's helpful, but also strategy.
What would you like to see in the next leader of the Hudson-Webber Foundation?
I think that one of the lessons learned from the impact report, and one of the things we're very proud of in the work that we've done, is really working, investing, and supporting the initiatives that put residents at the center. So we're not talking about, you know, either in our practices or others, scenarios where folks are making decisions about the city that are not grounded in the very people for whom those services, policies, et cetera, impact the most. And frankly, you know, it's not unique to Detroit, but many times those that are most closest to sort of the issues in the city are the most far from the decisions about what happens in the city. That's been a through line of our investments, and I would hope that the person that comes into the role, and I'm sure they will support that type of approach as well.
We should say, just in case people wonder, well, why is she leaving? You're headed to Boston?
Headed to Boston, a new chapter for us. Our family, my husband has an opportunity. He's running at CDFI, Massachusetts Housing Investment Corporation in Boston. And so we're going so that we can all be together.
Very good, and having family together is very important. All right, we'll take one quick little break here. We'll come right back and wrap things up. Stay with us. Ms. Clark, in your background, you worked at New York University for a little bit.
With the Brennan Center for Justice, that's right.
Right. Yeah. At one time you worked with the NAACP.
Legal Defense Fund, yeah.
Okay, and you did a little professorial teaching at Seton Hall. So you've got this rich legal background, and you also worked with the late Professor Ogletree.
That's right, that's right.
Okay, so you've got all these great minds that you've worked with, and you've been in both the Obama administration and then helped a little bit with the transition for the Biden administration. Any politics in your future? Ever plan on running for a political office?
I don't see it now, but you know, you never say never. I do think the experience of being here in Hudson-Webber, with the Hudson-Webber Foundation, and really, I mean, the beautiful thing, so many beautiful things about doing this work, but I really enjoyed the breadth and diversity of work that Hudson-Webber supports. So of course I'm a lawyer and have a criminal justice policy background, but we invested in the arts, we invested in community and economic development, in parks and public spaces, and I just feel like that has positioned me to be open to so many different opportunities. I'm not sure about elected office.
You grew up smack dab in the Big Apple in New York.
I did.
Any plans to eventually work your way back there? Or?
You know, it may be, and this is a funny thing to say, it may be the place that we retire to. And I am a believer in cities being...
Or run from office
good.
From. You never know. Right?
You never know.
Yeah.
You never know.
Never know.
But Detroit will always have a place in my heart. This city has been so good to us.
Final question. We are coming up on a presidential election year. As someone who has the legal background that you have and has worked closely with people like Eric Holder, former Attorney General, and others, Your thoughts about democracy and where we may or may not be, and are we at a crossroads? Are you very concerned with the constitutional law background that you have?
I think we are at a crossroads. I think that that this is, you know, this entire period, and the COVID pandemic, of course, has been part of that. But there are so many, so much polarization. I mean, I think that is clear. And partisanship. And I think that people are talking past each other and retreating into their corners in ways that is perilous for our democracy. So I am concerned. I'm an optimistic person, and I do think
You think the Constitution will hold?
I am. I believe it will. I think that part of what needs to continue to happen is for journalism and journalists to ensure that the public understands what's happening. And so not the, there's so much misinformation out there, and I will say that I think fundamentally, if we are not getting the information and our history, I mean the assaults on learning, for example, about the history of our country in its beauty and in its struggle, without understanding that history, how can we possibly move forward? And so I'm concerned too about what's happening in certain states where folks are really trying to, you know, close their ears and hide their eyes from our history and all of its beautiful complexity. So, you know, I
think what you're saying is, at least for my profession, do our job, but do it darn well.
That's right. That's right, and hold ourselves accountable to the highest ideals that our country has set forward to us.
But we are being tested as a country.
Absolutely.
Melanca Clark, thanks so much for coming in, sharing your thoughts, and bringing us up to date on all the work that you've done at the Hudson-Webber Foundation. Good luck in Beantown, but we don't wish you luck when it comes to the sports teams when they play Detroit.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
All right,
Thanks
very
so
good,
much for
and best of
having
luck
me.
to you and your family.
Thank you.
And I'm Chuck Stokes. We'll be back next week with more newsmakers in the spotlight. We hope you have a great week.